G'day and welcome to another 3-point edit tutorial. Today I thought we'd take a look at manipulating video by using the 3D view. And to do that we need to take driver information from our VSE and implement it in our video textures. First of all, we need to ensure that we have Import Images as Planes add-on enabled. Here it is here. I just have it on as default all the time. Let's jump into 3D view. In the 3D view, the first thing that we want to do is go Shift A and add an image as a plane. Now here is the image that I would like to use. It's a little protest march that I recorded out on the road with my phone. I'm going to import that as an image, but let's have a quick look at our settings. So I might use a shadeless setting in this case. And match movie length, which will change later. Import image as a plane. Now it doesn't look very exciting at the moment. Let's go through camera view and I'll change my display to texture. Here it is here. Rotate around the x-axis by 90 degrees, 90, so R, X and 90. Rotate R key and around the Z axis with the Z key and scale that up. So if I hit play with buttons down here, doesn't look very exciting at the moment. Let's ensure that our settings are all set up correctly. Match movie length, start at frame 1, play. Let's try this. Playing from the properties window for some reason makes it play in the 3D display. Don't ask me why. So anyway, that plays fine. Now we'll head back into the video editing mode. So we go up to the layout window and we select video editing. Now down here we want to add our video strips so we can determine when in time the video should occur. So let's grab a movie, same movie, this one. And here it is here. We'll go back to the beginning and Shift S to snap. You can see the audio is included. So we've added the time, press the home button to fill the screen, and we'll come down here into the timeline and press E for end, or we can type in these values at the bottom to fill up the screen. Of course our project could be shorter than that, it could be half as long, so press E again. Now the important thing, or it could be much longer, or it could be quite a bit longer than the clip we're using. Press E. So we have a project duration and we have a clip duration. What's the next thing that we need to do? We need to make sure that in the properties for the clip we turn on some pre-seek. In this case I'm using a MP4 file from my phone, and in order to get better frame accuracy I'm doing a bit of pre-seeking, that is caching frames ahead from the highly compressed video. Okay, then the next thing that we need to do is copy the start time data path. So we scroll down to the start frame, and if I grab these clips and drag them with the G key, you can see that start frame changes, increments up or down. And that is based on the first frame of the project. So wherever the first frame of this project is relative to the beginning of that clip, that's what the start frame value is. So let's right mouse click in there and go copy data path. So now I've captured the data path for this strip for its start frame. What I'm going to do now is head back to the display for our 3D view, and I'm going to go down to the properties for the texture, so not the material but the actual texture that we added to this plane, and I'm going to try and add, let's see if I right mouse click here and add a driver. No, I can't add a driver to the start frame value, so I can't just copy one to the other. What I need to do is change the offset. So the start frame is telling us that we'll always count from frame 1, and if it's a video edit you're probably always going to start from frame 1. And we'll change the offset, that is how far away from the beginning of the project we want the video texture to play. So let's set a driver there, add driver. And while we're here, remember how I said that the timeline could be a lot longer than the actual length of the video. But we want this video to occur at any time in this project length. So we really must match that to the project length. So it's 1400 frames. If I type in 1400 frames, now no matter where I slide the texture along in this timeline, there will be enough frames to accommodate playback by offsetting the beginning of playback. Alright, so those things are taken care of. Let's open another window and get rid of the toolbar there with the T key. We're going to change this window now to graph editor, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to change the F-curve editor to a driver editor. And here you can see the driver that's going to tell our video when to start playing. So here we are, the image offset. We need to make that a bit smaller, press the N key to expose the properties for our driver. We can ignore the active frame. We want to ignore the active F-curve, and we want to look at the drivers. So the very first thing that we need to do is change this variable that's been added. The variable will point at, hopefully, our VSE clip. So the first thing we need to do is tell it what kind of variable we're going to use. So it's not a channel from an object, it's going to be a property from something that is not a 3D object. So when we change this to single property, we get the property pop up, and we can now change that to anything in here really, but what we're looking for is scene. So where's scene? There it is, the little box and ball. So we want to click on scene. That means that we can select just about any property path from anything in a scene, and scene is already selected. Now we need to paste in our data path. So hover over this, Control V to paste that in. So now we have the item name that was in the timeline. So it came from the sequence editor, and its property is a sequence all, and this is the name of the item that we had in the timeline. It's a .001. .000 apparently is the audio portion of that clip. 001 is the video portion. Then .frame start. So that's the value that we're entering in there at the moment. And it must be currently set at 51 frames. That must be where I left it before. Now that's not much help at the moment, because what that's doing is starting our video off at 51 frames offset. So it's pushed our video playback backwards 51 frames. What we want to do is push it forwards 51 frames, and we do that by making our variable a negative number. So we're just going to type VAR here for our variable, and we're going to put a negative in front of it. Negative. It's sort of like doing this. 0 frame start minus the variable, but we don't need the 0. So we'll press enter, and now our variable has changed to negative 51. So if we change this view to a video sequence editor, and we change the video sequence editor view to a little box with a preview at the top, we should be able to see they sync up perfectly no matter where I put them. So did that start at 51 frames? Let's see. 52, 51. Aha, it was 51 frames. Now of course in the VSE you will see black at the beginning, or anything to the left of the strip, but over here in the 3D view you will always see a still frame. That's because the material won't turn off magically. You would probably have to animate. You could probably put a driver on this. You could animate the exposure, or the let's see, what could you animate? You could animate this appearance, either the color or perhaps the transparency of the material. Anyway, so what this means now is anywhere that we put this VSE strip, will alter the beginning or the playback of this video texture. So in order to keep our audio in sync so that we can have audio playback, let's meta-clip these together. So select both the video and the audio and press Ctrl G, and now the audio and pictures will remain in sync no matter where you drag them. So let's drag them back here, and you can see that our beginning frame has changed. Our beginning frame has changed to 301. It said 301. And when I drag through, you can see that the video over here is kept in sync with our playback. I'm going to play this back now. Now, it would be nice to see both of these play in sync at the same time, but remember I have to go over to this properties panel and press play. Seems like a bug. Anyway, let's try hovering over here and pressing Alt-A. And there you go, they're playing in sync. Now, what I might want to do is add a video effect of some sort of 3D effect so we can see it up here. What I'll have to do is bring the vision from over here and put it in the VSE. We can do that by pressing Shift-A and adding a scene, and it's the scene that we have currently open. So press Shift-A and the scene appears. Let's press G and Y to constrain the move up to the top, and we'll put it above our meta strip. So now what we're seeing is a representation of the 3D view in our VSE. Let's press the N key in the VSE window, and we want to drop down here and look at the display or the preview type. So let's change the preview type to texture, and there we can see it. If we want to be able to see through the texture, we'd have to open shadings in our project properties and change that to transparent. And we'll pop back there. Now when we press the refresh key, where is that, in the sequence editor, that updates to show us a transparent background. So what can we do now that we have a scene strip with an animatable 3D representation of our video? Well, of course, we could animate it in 3D space. At the moment, because I have alphaed over, you can see the background bleeding through. Now I can't hide this because then I would kill the audio as well. But what I can do is apply something above it, like a color effect, or another piece of video if you prefer. Let's change the length of our color effect, nice and long, and let's make it more obvious, make it nice hot pink color, and we'll drag it up underneath there. Now we can see everywhere that the alpha transparency is working. Now, in video, you might want to emphasize a video appearing, so we could do something like rotate around the x-axis, rotate around the z-axis, ZZ if you want to rotate around the origin axis of the object. Let's rotate around the y-axis a bit, scale that, G, and create a key. Let's see, no, not a keyframe there. We'll go on a little bit further. Keyframe, rotation, location, scale. So that was the I key for the keyframe. And we'll go back to the beginning of the clip. Scale that down. G. Rotate around the X. Rotate around the Z axis. Rotate around the Y axis a little bit. And create another keyframe with the I key, rotation, location, scale. If we play that through. And there we go. So there's an animated move. Now anywhere we move this, of course, means that the keyframes won't keep up. So you can see the animation still takes place at the same point in time. If you had to remedy that, well then I guess you could easily, let's see, do this. So we would go to the dope sheet, or I guess the action editor if you're happy to break these down, and move back to the beginning, G key to drag the keyframes across. There we go. So no matter where you put it then, it should be available to you. So you could build up many layers like this with being driven from the VSE. So you would have your audio in sync, a attached with your 3D playback. That's probably the most helpful part, to be honest. So that you could have reference video underneath, and you could have that reference video appear in your 3D screen as well, of performance. Maybe if you're doing 3D characters, or if you wanted to slide a background video along a little bit, you could also do that as well, so that you could have an interactive video texture in your 3D scene. So I hope that you've... Oh, I can't play from there, that's right. Shift and space, get back. Let's try it from here. Can I play it from here? Interestingly, the video is not updating there either, so only do it from over here in the properties panel. Well, maybe we need to hit the refresh sequencer button. Try it again. Refresh sequencer button fixes almost everything. Ah, there you go. Movement at last. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to subscribe.